Welcome to Quantum Creativity Show with Santari Green and Cezarina Trone. And here we are with our last Quantum Creativity Show for 2015. I can't believe it. So I'm thrilled because we made it happen today, so we can all be together, Santari in UK and myself while traveling here in California. And we have invited two special, wonderful friends as our guests today. And we want to introduce you to them in just a second. It's going to be a really nice celebration today, isn't it, Santari? I'm feeling it.
2016, here we come.
Yes, and we can introduce Catherine Weigand. Where is Catherine? I heard her giggle. And then Krista Moore from Canada, Catherine from Arizona, from Sedona, Arizona, and here we are again bridging the gaps across the world and coming together one more time for this recapping and really feeling like a smoothing event, a smoothing of energies of the 2015 and what it has meant for us and where it has brought us to, so that we can finally be with it and share that closure and new beginning for 2016, the magical, mystical 2016 that's ahead. It's been stirring us up with inspiration for a while now. So welcome, Krista. Welcome, Catherine.
Thank you.
We're happy.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes.
So, Christmas Eve show. Well, it's the 23rd, but heck, it'll probably go out on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
So here we are, just to share what have been really the highlights, I guess, for us for 2015, and what 2015 has meant for us, and what we're going to bring forward into the new year. So, Catherine, maybe you'd like just to give us some sort of insight into what 2015 has been about for you, and what we can celebrate with you about it.
Oh, thank you. When I reflect on 2015, and it's not over yet, so there's lots of surprises seeming to come my way. What I realized was there was something requested of me in the quantum field, which was to be really enthusiastic and to be joyful about not knowing the next moment, and to be willing to let all my senses actually create it. Meaning not looking outside of myself for creativity, but actually letting it spark from inside. And I realized that for me, for years, it's been very difficult to live that way, because people's expectations of wanting to know in advance, to feel safe, or wanting to know in advance, to do their own active collaboration with it. So for me, even now, with only a few days left of this year, I'm seeing the bigger nature cycle really starting to imbue all my activities for 2016. I'm excited because it's going to show all the world, I believe, the natural rhythm that we all have, that we can flow with and be supported by and be amazed by and awed and wonder. It's really a shift into that thriving. Mm-hmm. And I sense that for me in 2016, everything that I've learned of being patient, of being calm, of being willing and accepting that I'm not in control most of the time of anything other than my imagination and my desire to be in the very source-connected self I can be, that is something that's flowing. And there's no push to it. It really is a flow. And then when I look at the daily events of schedules and requirements, there's even a dance of excitement and quite impish and joyful and whimsy of how to arrive at the destination that I'm being required to arrive at.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of it is also what you are drawn to do and what you have energy for. I've noticed for myself that there are many things they just seem to drop away because I have no more desire to carry on and do the same things, to participate in the same way that I did before. So I think it is a sort of like a natural selectivity which comes into play, and you decide the people that you want to play with, who you're most drawn to, the themes which still sort of ring loudly in your ears. And as you say, it's you don't rely upon other people to do things for you or to show you the way to go. It is very much about your own rhythm of dance and what actually momentum you have to take you forward into the future. So I think, I agree with you. It really is up to you all the time now as to what's going to happen next.
And yet there's a collaboration or a coming together of like frequencies and resonance. And so new people and people I've known before, or people circling back after 10, 20, 30 years are in that resonance. And that's what is so wonderful and surprising, because when we activate our imagination in the quantum field, there is a natural gravity or magnetizing of those who are also in that rhythm or also in that frequency. And I'm noticing that more and more and more, where all ages have that spark, and they connect and they ignite, and then we see what happens. And sometimes it's a little bit, and sometimes it's for days or months or years. And I've noticed that there's just an inner joy awakening in faces that once looked a little haggard or worn or suffering, if you want to use that word. And they're realizing that that's just a facade. It's an illusion. They don't have to be that. And I just love sparking. I can feel myself ignite, not by thinking, but literally by the close resonance of those people. And I used to think that was only at Christmas time. I really did. When I had a belief that at Christmas, everyone knew that spark, and so they were happy. And I would always look for the happy wherever I was in the world, because I've always moved around in the United States my life. And I think that when people realize that anything new can be expected to be that spark of happiness or that spark of connection, then we have significantly changed the collective reality. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's exciting in the simple ways that you see that. I was showing earlier before we started the recording, I found this hummingbird. And the reason I bring it up, I don't know if you can see that, Cez.
Beautiful.
It's a little capiz shell, flat.
Yes.
I have hummingbirds living in the front yard in my Photinia. And every day they come out to check up on me, and I check up on them and tell me that they're there, right? Because in the wintertime, they hibernate a lot, or they're only the males stay in this state. The females migrate. But they come out as if to say, thank you for putting the food out. Thank you for thinking of not letting it freeze at night, to put it out where it's warm so we can find it. And they chitter and chat, and they come sit on tree limbs and vines and the tomato baskets. And I think that today when I woke up, it was, can you imagine a world where everyone is excited to see everyone else? Mm-hmm. To explore what's new and what's available, even though there's a rhythm and a cycle that has a continuity to it. Mm-hmm. And that's what the hummingbirds always bring me. I'm always giggling out front. The neighbors must think I'm beautifully arranged in life to have such a joy at those kind of things. Even the FedEx man comes. And I like to bring it, right, to what our daily life is, what we're creating as a collective. And you should see the laughter that comes as they walk down the sidewalk to deliver packages. And I may not even be out there. I'm just saying that, to me, 2015 has really made that available to the vision of everyone, no matter where we are, where we start. That we don't have to be winterized or Scroogeized or, to find the complaints to let go of. They're just dropping away. And when we recap 2015, it's almost like, can our imagination find everything that we have been appreciative of and then amplify it into 2016? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I'm arranging it. And I see that if you've ever imagined not knowing what tomorrow is going to bring, all right, you can imagine that. You can also imagine that what is coming has been so destined because of the vibration and the thoughts or the feelings that you've had. And that's a lot of mental, except for when you see a hummingbird and it's showing you that life is there and life is acting and life is responding. And I think that there are special gifts that way that we are bringing into 2016. I think it's going to be a year where people realize there's consciousness in all life and consciousness in nature. And it's not just for a few. It's for everyone. And so I think the poem of the trees, I mean, it's all coming, no matter how we've attempted to bring it into human memory or human archives in poetry and art and song. It's coming in again in a new way where all the generations are feeling that spark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be quiet now.
Well, we were captivated, I think, by that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you would say that this is a global happening. That's how it looks for you.
It is. You know, I was out during solstice, and there's something that has been, I thought it was normal for everyone. And I hear to go places. I don't ask questions. My heart knows to go, and I go. And so I had a spontaneous gathering the day before solstice on the 20th, where I just sent out a text to my friends here in Sedona and said, I'm going to have breakfast at the coffee pot. Would you like to join me? And then we're going to go to a place that I hear from nature to help waken a dragon mound. And none of them knew what a dragon mound was, so it doesn't matter. They meet for breakfast. And there was something that happened at breakfast, because it's you know how you have restaurants in towns that are like anchoring points for energies. In Sedona, we have so many vortexes that the coffee pot restaurants have been around since the 50s, and millions of people have gone through there. And so they've all left a touch of awe and a touch of wonder and a touch of yum for the food. And it's, you know, there's a collaborative kind of energy that's always there. And it's really run by a great family. So we were there, and all of a sudden I see a Santa, you know, Santa in the gift angle. And that becomes this little icon that we pick up. It's a Russian Santa made in the United States by a collective of artists that hand paint images. So I picked it up and I brought it over the table. And all of a sudden we're looking up, and this is the idea of creativity. We're looking up what the book title is in Russian. And I said, well, look at Google Translate. You know, just type that in Google Translate and see what it says. And it says fairy tales. And I went, oh, this is a key, because I'm about to take you to a place that most of the Sedona people ignore. It's where a cultural park was anchored, and there was nothing for sure as to what happened. But we went after breakfast. Other people joined us after breakfast that had gone to see Star Wars in the morning. And we collected at this little walkway the National Forest has built that has little tabs talking about plants. So there's always education to be had, and plaques talking about the mountains around Sedona. And we parked in a place that was a little further away, and I just stood there and I said, I'm going to share, as a facilitator of this spontaneous event, that I'm not sure why we're standing here versus over there, but somehow we're here. Let us devise and discover what it is. And there was a moment in the Cultural Park of Sedona that we had a fairy fair. And Brian Froud came and musicians came, and it was not a Renaissance fair, but it was an awakening of nature elementals. And then nobody wanted to do it again. The city rebelled. There was all sorts of things. And it came to everyone there that I'd been called over a year ago to go there on the 20th and just be there and let the energy of nature come through us and awaken whatever it needed to do. And all of a sudden, that moment, that whole multiple days of the cultural park was like a hologram. It was present, And it began to move over to what I call the Dragon Mound. Now, this is where the park built this educational little walkway, which means millions of people will go there too. Because it's easy, it's accessible. You can roll a wheelchair even if you need to. They paved it in aggregate so you could go there. And it's just there. It's not called a vortex. Mm-hmm. And we went, and we had this little Santa statue. And I'll run get it when the tale is told. And we began to there was only 5 of us, so we began to see what was going to happen. And all of a sudden, the office of claws, so the whole energy of consciousness that happens during the month of December, as we call it, started. Odin was there, which is like a historical Santa that comes from ancient history. And there was just all this consciousness of time in the quantum around this little mound. Now, do you know what a dragon mound is? Anyone?
No.
I've got a sense. I think there's probably Dragon Mounds, Glastonbury Tour,
Yes.
surrounding district, Weary All Hill.
And what happens is that dragons travel under the crust of the earth easily, in many senses as well as in the air. So they're in all elements. And what transpires is they always come to areas of creativity. So where the earth itself can generate new life, new everything. And the energy of that mound had been present since that cultural park event. And it was dormant. So we're constantly creating new mounds where dragons can be born and come to life. And they're energetic, they're ley lines. People's consciousness will perceive them in any way. And to make a long awakening, which wasn't really that long, years in the making, this mound was to awaken before solstice. Now, why is that? I could not tell these people why that was. I just know my heart said, go there and wake it up. And it wakes up with love. It wakes up with conscious awareness. It wakes up with the tapping into creativity of yourself. And it began to, the earth itself, the consciousness of the earth energies that run the planet and all the ecospheres began to pool and swirl. And people who were clairvoyant with me could see the vortex begin to open. And I love dragons, and I know dragons themselves come alive when they're consciously invoked or called. And so we were there, and the Santa was playing a role. And all of a sudden, Jody Florman was anchoring lights like she did at Glastonbury thousands of years ago. She was just bringing in all this energy. And it was, I said, now this time, it's not for just you. We're doing it for nature. Nature is telling us what we want. The planet is telling us what we want. And it came alive. And everyone who was there, and there was a man who walked up with a cowboy hat and red pants and a white beard and looked just like a cowboy Santa. Just everything was evolving beyond our sight, beyond our senses, to open new sights and new senses and new energies for Sedona. And it was very quantum. It was into the cosmos. And it felt very comfortable and very natural, no matter where our minds were. The heart and the bodies of our beings, in the energy of the earth bodies, was dictating where we were going. And everyone just accepted it and moved forward because it felt good. It was awe-inspiring. There was lots of tingles, spines. And I knew that we were actually helping the old brain of humanity move into thriving, right? So it just gets bigger and bigger as you allow. And no one asked any questions. We just did that. Yesterday, I get a Facebook message, and I want to share this because I guess I really see that I believe this is so true. It's been in my life from the day one I arrived, that if you don't have an answer to the question, it will come. Just allow for it to come and let the mind relax and observe and let the consciousness of our beingness, our whole embodiment, communicate with what life is having us do next. And I got this message that some research project years ago at Paralandra where they proved that the day before solstice and during solstice, there is a preparatory consciousness that awakens in everything organic that awaits the new energy coming. And they had actually tested this in Paralandra with all their equipment, which is a research facility for nature essences and whatnot. And so this person had sent this to me, Kathy Lowe from New York, saying, oh, we just, you're so connected to nature, I thought you'd like this. And it explains exactly why we were sent. My inspiration was to go, to be there, to awaken, to participate, and allow nature to prepare. And sure enough, as I'm going to the solstice gathering the next day, as I drive by this place that once was a cultural park, that is now a dirt road that you can go and park and run your dogs or walk through things, there was this thank you for having been present, to witness, to be aware, to add your light to, for something that no one could explain until the next day. Because the earth itself prepares to receive all this light, to give life to everything that we create in all forms of life. And that to me was, like I said, it was a culmination of years, but certainly this year, of being reminded that there was nothing outside of myself other than this connection to my life here that could give me that opportunity and that experience. My source, my life, physical, and moving forward. And it gave a whole new meaning to solstice because it was so multidimensional, it was so quantum, which is not extraordinary. It really is the quantum ordinary for us to live life from. And there is no polarity in that. It is literally the excitement and the awe of a new frequency and new preparation and new receiving. So that was my beginning when I woke up this morning, was take your intelligence, your inspiration, and add the imagination that all life has ready to share with you. And all of a sudden you have these experiences. And I realized for me that that's how I come to Tuscany. That's how I come to any retreat I do. It's how I meet a heart and a face in front of me, their divinity, however you want to call their pulse of life is there waiting. And for me, there is an innocence and an excitement and a very practical intelligence that can come in and answer questions. And no one asked a question that day. I was, it will always stream in if it wants to. Everyone is capable of doing that. That it was available for the connection and the uniting. And then I sent that piece of information out to everyone who was there. And then I posted a kaleidoscope because we continued on to Jerome, where there's this fantastic kaleidoscope store, which opens the mind, which opens new possibility. And bless Jackie Larson. She posted that as an opportunity that you could share. So I did.
Hey, we started recording. Okay, so for this second part of the show, Krista, would you like to tell us a little bit about your experiences during 2015? And seeing that you're embodying the energy of Christmas with the Christmas tree behind you?
Yes, Christmas is definitely a spirit, and I'm in the Christmas spirit this year like I've never been in such a very long time. Part of that is because 2015 was really an exuberant year for me personally and in every way, and energetically as well. And I learned so many lessons in this year that I would like to share with you because it's about sharing the gifts. And these gifts that I'm giving this year for Christmas are energetic, and they are coming from my life and my energetic self. So you can untie these with a string or a bow if you wish, but this is really about what happens when we go from the darkness to the light, and with the winter solstice and with Christmas being a symbol of that. But like Catherine said in the first part of the show, it's not really something restricted to this time of year. And I too have felt that last year in 2015, energetically, spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, in every single way, I completely embodied a new self. The reason being, the beginning of last year began on a deeper note. It was a much deeper note. We had a death in the family. Different circumstances were shifting, and there was a lot of energetic changes going on in my world. And so I began in January with this opening. I started the new year last year with this very quiet self, and I called in something totally new. I stayed in quietness, and I called in a year of magnificence that I didn't have a clue what it would look like. And like Catherine said, I had no preconceived notions of what it would be. And yet something in the imagination took hold, and I could feel visions. I could sense things coming. And very quickly, things shifted in my world, beginning in February with getting married after 16 years. Never in my wildest imagination would I have dreamed of being in a tropical environment with beautiful, vibrant colors like fuchsia and magnificent, lilies and the ocean, and, Steve and I being with the public, with, the Jamaicans out on a public beach saying vows to one another. I never would have imagined after 16 years of being together and having these children and having a life that we would be able to rise even higher and to be lifted above our normal way of being. So that was the beginning of my year. And that really, and in sharing that with the public and in sharing that on Facebook, I felt a lot of love, a lot of hope, a lot of energy coming from everyone. And I really felt blessed. I felt like anything was possible now. And this is what really began a magnificent, magnificent year for me, energetically, spiritually, emotionally. Then coming into March, April, I went again away on another trip with a dear friend of mine and my mother and my daughter, all the female energy. And we did some incredible healing work together. And I realized that I could peel away a lot of the layers of many, many things and shed all of that previous darkness that humanity carries with it everywhere. And that it really I could expand and become this larger self, this expanded and magnificent self. And really become in tune with the angelic realm, really become in tune with my true self. And I began to claim that and to really experience it more fully, not just on the mental plane, where before perhaps I was teaching more mentally, coming from a mental place of teaching concepts, teaching how to live a life of miracles. Well, this year I really lived a life of miracles. I really experienced miracles. And in order to spread that joy and that miraculous feeling, I needed to demonstrate it. And this was my year of demonstration. And so from one thing to the next, it seems I look back at the photos of 2015 and I can hardly believe that that was my year. There's beauty in every picture. And I'm having a real struggle trying to figure out how to limit my photos so that I don't overwhelm the people I'm giving them to, because I want to share the gift. But really for you and the people who are watching this, I want to share a message for you from the angelic. And so this year, this coming into 2016, if it is even possible, is going to be even more magnificent. Because as Star Wars says, The Force Awakens, we watched that last night. I watched it with my son. And this force, and we had a nice lively debate about what the force is, that the force is within you. And this is awakening for all people, everywhere without exception. Every single human being on the planet, every life form, every plant, every animal is being awakened to this greater force, this greater love, which is within you. And you can become this expanded self, this beautiful, magnificent, loving being that is possible. And you can create anything from this place. And it is a choice. It is a choice. And until you feel the difference in the vibration. When you start off in the lower vibrations, your smaller self, which is still beloved and wonderful, your smaller self really doesn't know what's possible. And so it asks a lot of questions, and it wants advice, and it seeks outside of itself, and it's always looking for something else on the outside. It wants love, it wants affection, it wants peace, it wants everything. And so what you and I need to do together is we need to access that higher vibration and bring it right inside of us and realize that we are this larger and expanded self, this beautiful, angelic, radiating from the heart chakra, radiating from that 528 hertz of the heart chakra, and raising the energy of the planet and raising everyone's vibration as we are sitting here speaking and spiraling all this love to you. And I hope that you can feel it. And if you cannot feel it, close your eyes and imagine it. Imagine in whatever way you can, and be lifted by this beautiful energy that will, in fact, change the cells in your body. It will, in fact, recode your DNA. It will shift everything in your life so that you are no longer looking at others who are living miraculous lives. You are living a miraculous life too. And we invite you in to this vibration now, so that in 2016, you really can feel yourself being lifted almost energetically and effortlessly just by your willingness and participation. Just by you watching, you are participating in this flow, and you are becoming a magnificent creator. You are becoming the masterful creator that you really are. And you are the loving being that you are watching now on the screen. You are that. You are all of that. And we love you, and we want you to appreciate and love yourself, and to forgive yourself for whatever you have done that haven't done, that you feel you need to let go of now. And we invite you to let it go now, at the very bridge of 2015 into 2016. This is your moment. This is your moment to let go and to create with us this masterful, magnificent creation in 2016. All you need to do is just close your eyes and want to be there, and you will be there. And you will have an even more magnificent year than Krista, myself, or anyone else who has spoken has had thus far.
Mm. Was there anything in particular that seemed to spark all this off for you?
Yes, many things. Good question, Santari. Yes, I began a process, what I'm now calling the technology of illumination. And this is coming into me now, and I'm practicing the technology of illumination so that people understand that there is a way to this light, and that it isn't just in meditation. There is an active force within you that you participate and you collaborate with, and that you can collaborate your way there. You collaborate with others like yourself and Cezarina and Catherine. We are that technology, and we are embodying that technology now. But within yourself, actually, when you are by yourself, this technology is available to you, and you can access and witness for yourself the shift in your own energy. So become the witness, but also become a participant. So you are actually not asking, but participating in the creation of this expansion of light. You might do that by imagining it with your visual sense. You might do that by a sound or by toning it. You may do that by looking at something that is resonating with that frequency. It could be, like Catherine suggested, a kaleidoscope, a beautiful mandala. It could be a light for some kind of beauty, artwork. It could be a wonderful tone that is coming from the angelic or from music that you love. It could even be peering into the natural world and accessing it through being in nature. For me personally, Santari, what happened is I would do it in the quiet moments. So when I was by myself and learning through the tools of hypnosis, through the tool of learning how to channel the energy myself and become the channel. So really, instead of walking into a portal or vortex, now I am the vortex, I am the portal, and I become my own creator. So I actually access the light from within. I'm a very visual person, and so I actually relate to seeing the light of my guides, the angelic, or I can hear internally and I can have a conversation. So I'm participating as a conversant. I'm with them. I'm having a dialogue, and it's really interesting and entertaining for me as a human being to watch myself, to witness myself move from an energy of, gee, I don't know, and I screwed up, and I'm really mad, and I'm pissed off with myself about that, and all this kind of, stuff. How am I going to fix that, and what should I do? And, a little in a funk about something. And I'm really doubtful, actually, in that moment that it's even possible to lift me to this level. And within 15 minutes, within less than 15 minutes, by participating in that dialogue, I receive my own best answers. I become the channel, and it all comes through me. And I vocalize it because when I hear my own voice speaking the words of wisdom and I record it, I now become my own teacher, even though I'm receiving from Source and I'm receiving from my team of angels. It is the wisdom that they're returning to me. As they said to me, and as a dear friend of mine said once, I am just returning your knowledge to you. This is your knowledge. It is your wisdom. You've just forgotten it. And so you're remembering. And in order to remember, you have to engage. You have to engage in the process of healing. You have to engage in either some kind of meditative or hypnosis practice, or just some kind of thing that helps you go within and to find that inner voice, that inner channel. For you, you may call it something else, Santari, but we're doing the same exact thing. It's just I'm choosing to vocalize it, and I'm choosing to share it, because in the sharing of it, it amplifies the gift. And then when I hear it back and I listen later, I'm astonished by the abilities that I now have to channel this light, to channel the energy so other people can hear it. And I can hear it as well. So now I am demonstrating and also giving the gift at the same time.
Mhm. So I'm going to go over, of course, to Cezarina, because I know that she herself has many ways of being able to get into that space of understanding and getting the guidance of what to do, of what to say in any moment. So Cezarina, what has there been in 2015 for you which has allowed you to be more firmly in that place all the time, and to be able to speak the wisdom that you speak?
I've been finding myself quiet lately, just to hold the joy and the wonder and the creative spark. So I can tell you that 2015 has been just an incredible journey, and it started with really the excitement that we always have around this year. We always come together and plan our Tuscany trip, which is our really our wondrous collaboration and play in action. And we come together and actually be this beautiful exuberance, be this light that we speak of. And so for me, it started with being in the joy of planning that, and also finding really deep quiet time in winter. For me, winter time is a time of going into the depth of your being a little more, to stir up more of that dream-like quality of how you want life to show up for all around you. And you want to go deep into the dream quality of it to bring out new aspects, new expressions of it. So it started with the planning for Tuscany. We're all very excited and going, and this past summer we had our second year annual Tuscany retreat. And then during the winter, there was a lot of work in the new creation of some of my expression here, which has to do, you all have been a big part of, including you, Santari, which has to do with how do we pass on these tools of wonder and magic and nurturing and play and co-creation with children. So through my the creation of my Mirador Yoga and Creativity School, the program I have in Cincinnati, and the calling forth of my playmates for that, or these amazing teachers that have come in to play with me and be co-creators at that level. So here I started that whole new journey in spring in winter it was the germination, aspect of it, where it all sort of became alive within me, and I knew that I had to do that. And then in spring, the people, the co-creators of that came forth, and you have met them as well. And a new depth of the work you do and I do together with this quantum creativity show has surfaced through that piece as well. So it's showing me constantly that every little thing, every little piece of the puzzle, every little dream and visions and piece of or layer, a multi-layer of work we do here, when we come together physically, when we're connecting energetically, mentally, creatively, through song, through silence, through these shows, everything has been contributing to enhance everything else. So, the realization that both Catherine and Krista have spoken of, when we ourselves really could give ourselves permission to go deeper into the beingness and the sheer joy and the playfulness of that inner space. I call it the inner child, because it's very important to me that we have cultivated that love with the inner child, self-love with the inner child. And everything happens, miracles, things that we think are impossible or just a natural flow in daily life. So as we went through 2015, and I got excited after springtime to head over to Europe and be with all of you, here, again, it became this dance, this global dance of light, of joy, of in our work in Tuscany being a Renaissance work that keeps on resurfacing as a new layers of it get to show up and emerge for ourselves and everyone called to come and play. So the summer was an incredible experience. The summer was just an incredible experience of reconnecting with all friends, visiting and coming to Tuscany and being with all you, and magicians, I call re-entered, as I re-entered my world back in US towards September, when I finally came back. I was just, again, it was this palpable, tangible sense of, oh my gosh, what are we creating next? What's been creating us? What is being breathed? What is the new fire of creation has been breathed through our nostrils, as you mentioned, these dragons of creations that we find ourselves to be lately. And of course, more of the play came in for me, more of the children's yoga and creativity coaching journey and trainings where showed up teachers to myself, teachers for life, creators and playful, wonderful. Then of course, we carried
Cezarina?
or
Cezarina?
a new work in Tuscany. Yes.
I think you might have to talk a little bit
Yes.
slowly. A
Can I
little
hear?
bit more slowly, because you start to break up.
Sure. So as we started our fall in 2015, which was not long ago, we discovered our new sense of returning to playing in Tuscany for 2016, which for me again it holds a big focus of our collective work and co-creation. So I wanted to take a moment and speak about that, because it's a very special place in my heart that I hold for this work, for this play. And so again, we will be in 2016, end of May, time has shifted, and we will be there for the wonderful Festival of Light and Roses. And we will be there to simply celebrate our beingness in this new way that we speak of now, that we've spoken of for a few years now. And yet new layers of it, people who have come to Tuscany may ask, or they have asked me, well, what is it going to be that we haven't experienced yet? Because they know we've experienced just about everything and anything there, anything that's unheard of, and it's amazing and magical and mystical. And yet I get to say there is more. there's more, so come play. So as you could tell, there's a lot of just like the hummingbird energy that Catherine was showing us. The hummingbirds have a way of really, really flying. When they come, I had an experience years ago, one of them came right straight to my face and was flying really, really fast. And you could hardly hear it, but you could hear the humming of her wings. And it was an enchanting moment for me. It was, time stood still, everything was just perfect. And just like that, I feel like this is what's happening. There's a spinning of bird wings, of hummingbird wings of consciousness. So the humming of all of that is showing up in people's lives, you know, through different wonderful things that maybe they've never thought were possible. And this is what I like to use the analogy of joy. Let your spirit, be grateful, show up, hum with your wings, sing your song, delight others. That's truly what my life wants to look like. Be a hummingbird of joy. So I'm grateful for that totem, Catherine, that you brought in today. It's truly magical, mystical, and it takes us to just like dragons, the energy of the dragons. It takes us to a new level of soaring high into our depth of being. So to more soaring, to more humming, to more joy, to more playing, to more playmates. I love having magnificent playmates and co-creating amazing experiences. So I say yes to all of that and all of you, and I'm very thrilled to be with you in that joy today for this last show of 2015.
No need to ask what your gift was then. Joyful exuberance.
If I could say one thing that's beautiful for me, what I sense the possibility is, and the potential, and perhaps even the destiny of this planet in 2016 for humanity and for all life, is that when we see the juxtaposition of the Force Awakening in movies, or we see the projections of images of what could be into the future that are fear-based or love-based, we have a choice. The power that and the force that awakens with anyone can be as light and as joyful as a hummingbird, or as powerful as someone who creates planets and worlds that are here in training for doing this in other realities. And those are things that have been written about for eons of time, and yet we are in the actualization and the manifestation of some of these dreams and visions and realities. And I know that in Tuscany, as we go to Assisi, as we go to different places within the villa itself, there is an awakening of an inner force that can be directed in total knowing, in total love, and in total awareness of where we choose to create a collective reality to be. It is a revival of the early Renaissance energetics, but it is truly a culmination of consciousness throughout time, throughout space, throughout dimensions, throughout the quantum, that are collaborating to create something new. And that force is not to be, contractions don't gel in my languaging, but that force is to awaken however you, the creator, wants it to be, and that it is all merging and following and finding the resonance fields that allows so many different diverse awarenesses of creativity to come into play. If you had to have one overriding pulse, it would be the pulse to help all life, the pulse to help humanity have practical, daily, exuberant, joyful living and creating, and that it is an inner awareness that awakens and then is shared, as you say, Krista, that then compels someone to imagine, well, what will it be for me? How can I co-create? What can I serve? Not being told, but literally it is a natural well of knowing that is coming forward that merges the intelligence, the intuition, and the imagination into a life form that we are creating that is harmonious, which is, in my opinion, as an old soul, the original divine blueprint of the creators of this planet. And Tuscany is a place that has been imbued for many, 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 many times. And when you get a taste of Tuscany, you come home and you create your own light field, as Krista said, your own vortex, your own field, wherever you find yourself living. Mm-hmm. And that becomes a universal, but also a global unity that allows all the discord or all the diverse polarities to find pathways. So my example of solstice was that in preparing for the light coming in, new pathways of possibility were imbued, not by me, not by my direct focus, but literally by all life, by the life of the planet, the creative field, wanting to create how you create happiness to be in love, in all things that serve all life. In Tuscany, that's going to happen again. And as far as I know, when my 2016 year was unfolded, I had to grow into the awareness that it was going to be very mobile, very accelerated, and also quietly inviting everyone to realize that that acceleration is just like a hummingbird. It is joyful. It feels that it is your flow. And I just am thankful for this call. I'm grateful for all of you in my life and all that I will meet in Tuscany and in every day of 2016. That there is a wonder that is long requested by humanity. And I'm just here to say so simply and so easily, from within you, you say yes. And it unfolds however you want to create your pathway to be.
Well, that's why I was asking just a little while back, but if there was any experience that she had in the previous year, which may have been accelerated the 2015 experience. And I was thinking really about the Tuscany of last year. If there's anything there which allowed you, Krista, to feel that you were being the amazing vehicle for something, and then you were actually being the translator of the wisdom, and to be able to use that, knowing the experience of that to really change the course of your life.
Absolutely. I took the work that I'd done in the spring, and I had also visited Cezarina as well. So we did a bit of work with each other. Collaboration was everywhere this year, all over this year. I mean, I haven't done anything by myself. I don't think I spent much time by myself at all. And like Catherine, I've been kind of on globetrotting, if you will, but it's because in connection with others, I have been able to transcend and do so much more than I had ever done by myself. And there's a momentum built. There's a sense of a momentum and excitement. And in Tuscany, because I was one of the co-creators, I was able to really anchor all that I had gained, all the gains I made from January to June, and give it back. And so when we went into the quiet chapel and I worked with someone one-on-one, there was just this outpouring of energy. It was just so incredible. And I was now the anchor for it, and allowing and activating that in somebody else, or helping them connect with that. And so also the toning and the sounding that we did in the chapel and in the lobby as well, beautiful with Cezarina and the poetry. And the horses, again, we connected with those beautiful horses and Frankie, and just being in nature and going out into this sort of mystical environment and being so completely engaged with it. Even though we had the heat to contend with last year, I really turned inward, and it allowed me to transcend the heat and to connect with each person that I was with in a very active way. And so, yes, I was so energized by it that when I came back from Tuscany, someone asked me, "Oh, you must be exhausted. You've done so much stuff lately, la, la, la." I said, "Oh, no, I am completely just turned right on. I can't wait to do something else. I'm just buzzing with activity and life." And they said, well, that's a pure sign that you are truly in your element. You are truly in tune with who you really are, because it gives more back to you than it takes away. And so I learned that in giving, I receive. And I just am really eager to just give more and more in 2016 and to spread the joy everywhere and to allow more people to realize that this is also for them, and that yes, I can help you with that alignment and activation for sure, and I can be your coach or your helper, friend. But you will discover eventually that it's now within you, and you can now go out and give it to everyone else. And so, one of the things, another specific and very simple thing people can do is to lighten up your energy by watching what you're eating, what you're taking in, purifying your foods and everything else. And that helped me tremendously in the spring to prepare myself for the work ahead. So I'm kind of vibrating a little bit, buzzing a little more than I usually was, because I don't have the heavier stuff to contend with. So there's a purification, cleansing self, and then just illumination. And then you enjoy all the benefits of that by sharing. So thank you so much. And I love connecting with all of you. You really were, and Tuscany for me has been like the beginning of my collaborative life. And out of Tuscany grew another retreat that, in Canada, I found even more co-creators. And I was so excited in the fall to find Philip and Andre, calling out to Philip and Andre, sending lots of love, because that came through synchronicity. It came through that beautiful flow, as Catherine said, when we're in our light. And so it becomes an effortless and wonderful, playful joy. And I just know that there's going to be even more of that in 2016. And I pray that all of you will be able to experience that for yourself and come play with us in Tuscany or wherever we are, in whatever capacity that you can do. So thank you. Thank you, Santari.
Well, as you see, I don't have a Christmas tree behind me. But I do have a few friends. I would say that I too have experienced the collaboration much more this year than previous years, with the Tuscany Retreat, for sure. With working with Cezarina. Cezarina asked me if I'd like to do a few things with her, so I said yes. Out of that's been born the New Modern Mystics course, online program, an 8-month program. Previously, I wouldn't have thought that I'd be able to go the whole length of time.
Heather just poked it. So sweet. Okay.
I didn't think I'd be able to do a full 8th month of whatever, but it seems to be going very well. And I think it's all about sort of sensing what you can bring to the game each time that we come together to do these teleclasses. And as I'm with Catherine, you just don't know until you actually put yourself to the task of devising something, perhaps which we haven't any foreknowing of, but that you're willing to participate in and to go to a deeper depth, perhaps than you've been before, to experience a new sense of reality that you really haven't played in that area before. And I think that what you come back with is a very valid understanding of how to use language, of how to really use the delicate and subtle nuances of energy to be able to have people find their fire, have their intuition almost like land on their doorstep, so that they don't really have to go to somebody else to ask questions, to get clarity, to get the knowing, to be able to fathom where and what and when things should happen next. I find it's very easy for me to be able to talk quite eloquently about the amazing life of a dragon, because it's something which I find, I know that I am a dragon. I am a force of creation. I am the deep swells of the oceanic tides, that move through all things. And I find that the poetry of life is something which I would say that what it is to to be a force and a power, to be able to create a world or universe, let alone a human form. And it applies to men equally as well as to women. It applies to children as equally to adults, to the young, to the old alike. That what we have within us are the codes to the future. And the future really is whatever the future we want the future to be, in our sense of it, in our feel for it, in our desire for it. The future has momentum, I believe, because we give it momentum. So for me, collaboration, absolutely. Whether it's with one person, with a group of people, with an entire world, with an entire universe. I think I pretty well span it because I feel that I am all of it. I'm not just one person, I am the universe, I am the tidal forces, which I say, for me, they're everywhere. The vast intelligence, which sometimes some people say they are part of, for me, we are all of it. We are the knowings and the creatings. And we are the abilities to source new worlds, for us to experience these deep and more subtle senses of beingness. And that for me is for what the play is all about. That we find new things to explore and to experience. So 2016, here we come.
Here we come.
There we I think that the year of the body senses collaborating in finding new ways to enjoy life, to experience life, to uplift life, to be the life that we came to be in all our senses and all our quantum and universal and beyond universal consciousness. The messages that are being brought to you from your outside world in the next few days will be profound if you look for them with new eyes, with new senses, with your body leading the way, of your heart guiding its direction, and your mind interpreting and inspiring and imagining the world that 216 will bring to you. It's wondrous.
So let me ask you, Krista, what would be your gift that you would give to 2016 and beyond?
I would be in tune with my high self, with my aligned, larger self, more than 80% of the time. I would like to say all of the time, but I'm a realist and I have a family. And I know that I'm a human being. And if I set myself too high, I will fail. So I go for the 80-20 rule. And I'm going to say 80% of the time, I would like to be aligned with my high self, my expanded being, my angelic being. And I would like to give that to my family, to my community, to my collaborators, to my clients, to my dog, to all the animals I encounter, to all of life when I walk down the street, everywhere I go, to just be constantly exuding this expanded love and self, and to connect more and more people to it so that they can experience it too.
Okay, so the 1st of January 2016, 80%. The 2nd of January, 85%.
We'll move up in increments, and by, let's say, September, I'll be at 80, 85. No, 80%. Santari, I'm sticking with my original plan.
Okay. Whose plan was that?
Oh, I don't know. My high self's plan, obviously.
We will see.
Oh, dear.
We will see then. Cezarina, what about for you? What would be your gift for 2016 and beyond? What would you give 2016 and beyond?
May all beings everywhere sing more of their soul song. And that could be a song they sing, really, an energetic song, or just the song of their life, their expression. As I ring the little bell, so be it, right?
Yeah. Who can resist? Catherine, did you say yours just a few moments ago?
I think that was part of it. I think in terms of English and languaging, my gift to 2016 is to awakened that all languages are really one language, and that I know that my greater self is aligning to activate my sun energy, my solar energy for consciousness and uplifting humanity in a joyful humor that my serious earth worker has not been able to tap into 80% of the time. And the speed of which that is going to be expressed is my gift to the world.
Okay, did I hear another 80 there?
I know 95 is a good one. And I also know that 95, when everyone is empowered at 95, creates worlds. And I love the ability to amplify and fluctuate from all levels, from 80 to 100 to, to embrace that being in front of me and meet them where they are, and to retain my light and my love.
Okay, so what would be my gift? Hard choice. I think I'd probably give many gifts, bundle them all together into a Christmas sack, and you just explode it into the world. If there's anything for myself which I give to myself in 2016, would be a fabulously new body. New bodies for Ode. I had a sense yesterday of what it would be like to have unlimited energy in physical form, so that you'd actually never tire at all, that you would be unbounded in your delight at life, that you would be really feel what limitless and boundarylessness would be in your sense of appreciation of being able to live in the fullest sense of physical nature. So my gift would be that people would feel a different quality about their physical life, that they would treat life with a greater sense of presence, that you would feel not just joy and delight, but that you'd feel the power resonant in the cells of your body, and that you would feel that all the time is 100% knowing that you are here in this body, in this moment, in this world, and you're bringing something of a full force of nature to the physical, which you haven't perhaps dared to before. So if I would give any gift at all to 2016 and beyond, it would be that knowing, that sense of deep embodiment of something that is just toying with you at this moment, and you know that when it comes into its full time sense, then you will go, oh my God, isn't life tremendous? I would never want to have anything less than this. And then I'll go to California, of course, surf the big waves with Cezarina. Do all the other stuff with Krista and Catherine. Go over to Tuscany yet again and do the fabulous work. Yeah, 2016, here we come.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing, Santari, to you as a Christmas fairy who knows? I know, because I'm always gifted from living from the future to the present, that in Assisi, that which we know to be St. Francis, that which we know, a lineage of beginning communication with the forces of nature, as you've called them forth, for physical rejuvenation, is at hand. It is a healing code. If you look at my experiences label, they are all about awakening your physicality mastery, your ability to be in the present moment at all moments that you create, to be in a time-space continuum or a quantum continuum, or things that we do. That the beings, the consciousness of life itself on the planet Earth is about the restoration and the revival. I call it the art of reing. We are recreating into the new, into the now, that physical mastery that we knew and we renewed in our continuing being here.
Okay, I am willing to step into that. Full on, baby. Full on.
And Happy New Year.
Oh,
Happy
yes.
New Year. Yes.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So from all of us here on the Quantum Creativity set, to all our virtual listeners, have a wonderful year.
Have a wonderful year.
Have a wonderful
Thank
year.
you.
Mwah.
Goodbye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye.